I think I'm live. It says I am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Falteyes Apothecary. We're here today to talk a little bit about the full moon in Scorpio with the lunar eclipse that is happening today. So we'll go over a little bit of the astrology, and then I will go over some tools um, that you might want to work with, some things you may want to do during this time. I'm not going to perform ritual. There's plenty of people out there that do that live already. Um, this is kind of if you just want an idea of something you can do on your own. Um, so, anywho, um, also today is the full moon of Beltane. So if you haven't seen my Beltane videos, you can go back and look. They're under the playlist of high holidays. So you can go back there and check out any videos that I have on Beltane, what it is, why we celebrate it, things you can do during it, all of that. So, um, but yes, it is the Beltane full moon as well. So lots going on today. So to go over astrology a little bit, I'm going to actually just burn a little piece of sage here, maybe, if I can find one. I got all these little pieces in my shell here. There's one I can. So we'll burn a little bit of that just to get us started here. So some for you guys, some for me. I've been running around all morning crazy, so it's kind of good to start this way. All right. So let's get started. What's going on? Besides, it's been crazy here for me. I just finished my second semester of classes yesterday. Um, so lots of stuff going on there. Had final exams this week. So kind of in disarray on everything else. But I will do my best to stay focused and get through everything we need to get through today. So really the biggest thing to take away from this full moon in Scorpio, lunar eclipse, Beltane, full moon, Mercury in retrograde, Pluto in retrograde, lots going on. But the biggest things to take away are really to be patient, be flexible, and be adaptable. So that's going to be your key words for this full moon. So I will go over a little bit of each to explain what's going on. So the full moon itself is going to bring some magnetism, some passion. Scorpio is a very passionate sign. It's they're very charming people. I can't say the word today. And they're also highly intuitive. Scorpio falls under the water signs, so that intuition is going to be heightened for you right now. So pay attention to that as well. The eclipse is basically just what it says. It's going to uncover something. It's going to reveal something. So reveal something that's, maybe unseen to us normally. This could be external. So could be career, could be relationship, could be finances, something like that. Or it could be internal. So it could be maybe some trauma that we maybe not wanted to deal with. Maybe some emotions might be coming up that we didn't realize were there, things of that sort. So something unseen is going to come up. Scorpio likes to get down in there and get dirty. and dig in. And so that's where you will be finding those unseen things for you. You're going to be digging up some stuff that maybe you didn't realize was still going on or was there to begin with. So be aware that's probably going to happen for you. Now, it could be on a small scale or it could be on a large scale. It may be on such a small scale that you don't even realize that it happened unless you sit back and think about it. So don't get too up in arms about it, I guess. I can't think of the word I want. It's going to be one of those days. So don't get too discouraged or too worried about what might be coming for us, right? What might be being unearthed or revealed to us. Because really, when things come to light for us, that's how we have to deal with them. That's how we have to process through them. That's what allows us to grow and be better people. So um, don't freak out too much about it. It may be something that is not going to be pleasant for you at the moment, but maybe knowing that going down the road, going further down for your path, that it's going to be to your benefit. It's going to be helpful to you in some way. So maybe that will help a little bit. I mean, it does for me, knowing that when something comes up for me, it's a lesson, it's an obstacle to overcome. It's there for a reason, and I might not always understand the reason or figure out the reason, but I trust that it's for a purpose. So maybe that will kind of help that. But you're also today with this coming up, right? So that's where that patience, not that flexibility and that adaptability is going to come into play, right? So we're going to use our increased emotional and intuitive strength of the Scorpio sign that we're in to overcome those challenges. So while Scorpio is going to kind of get down in there and get dirty, and Eclipse is going to reveal something for us, and it could be something in a positive aspect as well. But the Scorpio energy of being intuitive, being passionate, and then that increased emotional aspect and that increased intuitiveness is going to play to your benefit as well. So, like I said, there's always kind of two sides. Try to keep it in balance. So, just a quick touch on Mercury. So remember, no emotional or impulsive actions. So if something is coming up for us, that might be challenging, that might send us in a little bit of a spiral. Try to remember to stay calm, be patient, be flexible, be adaptive, and don't make any sudden or drastic decisions because of being in Mercury retrograde. So a little bit about the Pluto in retrograde as well. We talked about that the other day, where Pluto is a time to kind of make some changes. But again, it's not an instant change. It's more of a time to sit back and plan and prepare, and again, to be patient. So we can make plans, we can think about things, we can analyze things, we can adjust goals or make goals. All of those things are great, but don't make any impulsive, quick decisions, and just be patient and kind of let it all play out. No decisions have to be made today. There's no timeline. There's no timer. There's nobody there forcing you to make a decision. It's all on your time. So, some other things going back to the eclipse and the Scorpio. Sorry, I missed this, but I do want to put this in here. The thing that might be unveiled, that's not the word I was looking for, but it could be about your home life. It could be about your intimate relationship. Scorpio is very passionate. They're very intimate. They're also very sexual beings. So it could be something in there that may come up. It also may be, how do I say this? Sometimes knowing things is not the best in this situation. Because knowing this, we might be accidentally manifesting just disturbances or chaos into our life. So by constantly looking for something to be wrong, we're actually maybe making things worse. So I wanted to bring that up, that, giving you this information is for you to be prepared to handle things better or more easily than without the knowledge. But at the same time, if we are constantly looking around the corner for something to go wrong, or constantly suspecting something, or you're going to find something because you are going to manifest it. We're going to make something there that probably wasn't there. So just remember that being prepared for situations to come up is great, but we don't want to tip the scale towards of being paranoid or making something that's not there, kind of making a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing, like, some little thing, we don't want to blow it all out of proportion. So just remember that, if you are finding something because you're constantly looking for something, maybe that's really not not what was supposed to be not supposed to be unearthed, revealed to you, that you could just be potentially just making things worse by letting paranoia or things like that take over for you. So, and we're gonna kind of come back to that a little bit when we get into maybe talking about the archetype a little bit. So yeah, basically to sum that up, that was a lot, right? Or at least I thought it was a lot. It's a lot going on, and it's a lot to keep track of with all of this stuff going on. So Scorpio is going to be bringing us heightened emotions and heightened intuition, passion, all of that thing. That is great. The lunar eclipse might be revealing something to us that was not revealing something unseen, not to our knowledge. But again, remember, it is going to make you stronger in the long run. And don't overreact and don't go looking for things to be wrong. No emotional decisions because of Mercury. And Pluto, again, when it's in retrograde, is making you have kind of the desire for change. So again, just remember, no impulsive decisions. Take time to sit back and be patient and just kind of make your plan. So, all right, if you have questions about that or comments or anything you want to add to that would be great. You can just put them in the comments, or you can private message me as well. If you want more information about anything that I talked about, because again, This is a little bit more in depth than the astrology I do on Monday morning. But there's so much more you could go into about all of this, especially when it becomes more individualized, how it's going to affect each person differently. But I can't really go into without making this like a 5-hour long video. So we're going to switch over to talking about some of the things that you might want to work on during this full moon. Remember, full moon is about releasing what's no longer serving us. You know, be aware that normally we would write out, what's no longer serving us and either burn it, put it on a bay leaf, do some sort of ritual with that. And you absolutely can still do that. Again, I wouldn't necessarily take big actions though right now. I would use this time as planning and preparing and what we want to release. Okay. So I usually start off with an affirmation. So this is something that I pick that I try to relate to the energies that are going on at this time. So the one I picked, it says, I accept that uncomfortable situations are lessons to teach me. So I will type that in here. I accept that uncomfortable situations are lessons that teach me. And then fix my typos. I'm actually going to go back and put affirmation in front of it. All right. So there's the affirmation. I accept that uncomfortable situations are lessons that teach me. So affirmations, I like to work with them in a time of day that is kind of, I don't want to say empty space, but things that I'm doing anyway, that don't take a whole lot of brain power. Making a cup of coffee, while you're sitting there waiting for the coffee to brew, you could say your affirmation a couple of times. While you're putting on your makeup, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, things like that. These are things that you have to do in your daily routine, but they don't take a whole lot of brain power. So while you're sitting there brushing your hair, doing your hair, putting on your makeup, you can, say these affirmations. Put them on sticky notes, stick it on your coffee pot, stick it on your bathroom mirror, stick it on the dash of your car, and maybe say it a few times while you're driving to the grocery store or to work. So you don't necessarily have to set aside a bunch of time for it. If you want to, working with a mala and an affirmation is great as well. I just don't have time to do that right now in my daily life. So I incorporate them in things that I do anyway. But whatever works best for you, whatever you feel called to do is what you should do. So the next thing, if you want to work with a tarot card, I, again, do not have a traditional tarot deck. I had to buy something that was funky and weird. I have 3 placements in Scorpio. So I like the dark-sided kind of stuff. So my tarot, I picked the Death card. And I think she's absolutely beautiful. But the Death card is not meaning that someone is going to die or that you are going to die, anything like that. It's more of a figurative card. It might be the ending of a relationship. It might be the end of a project. It might be the end of an idea. It might be the end of a phase in your life that you're going through. And again, if something is coming up that we didn't know about, that may be the situation. It may be the end of something for you, which can be sad. It can be, heartbreaking. But again, I accept that uncomfortable situations are lessons that teach me, and that everything happens for a reason. So you can work with the death card if you so choose. I'm going to stick her just right here so I can see her. All right, an archetype that I picked for this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio with a Mercury and Pluto retrograde in Beltane. I picked the detective as an archetype. Um, so you can just Google detective and click images and kind of scroll through until you find something that resonates with you. Make it your screensaver, make it your wallpaper on your computer, print it out and put it in a frame. I've talked about this a couple of times, actually probably quite a few times. A nice little project you could do is just go to the dollar store and get a frame, just a plain regular frame, and then you could paint it. And you might want to paint it different colors. You might want to paint it just one color. You might want to paint it with glitter paint. You might want to glue seashells on it. You might want to glue flowers on it. You might want to glue skulls on it. Sorry. Whatever it is to make it your own. And then during the new moons or full moons or high holidays, whatever it is that you're going to be working with an image, you can just change that out. So, just print it on regular paper, put it in there, work with it for the month, a couple weeks, a couple days, whatever resonates with you. And that way it's a nice thing that you can maybe put on your altar space or somewhere that you're going to, see it on a regular basis to work with that. But anyway, back to the detective. So Scorpio, again, like I said, they like to kind of dig down. They like to, unearth things. They like to get to the bottom of things. So the detective kind of suits them as an archetype. But I also want to remind you that a detective is patient. They collect all the facts. They're smart. They're curious. They're inquisitive. They can be persistent. And they're usually detail oriented, right? So taking all of that, wanting to get down to the bottom of things, and find the answers is awesome. But again, we have to use that patience and collecting all the facts before we come to a conclusion, right? So the detective needs to gather all his information. He needs to have everything in one spot before he makes a decision or before he points a finger or, whatever case he's solving. So remember that today when we are digging down and looking for those answers. Again, that we need to be patient and collect all the facts and not jump to conclusions. So that is why I picked the detective. So some stones that you might want to work with. I got these new little cards. Actually, I've had them for a while, but I just haven't really had time to look at them. And I opened one of the decks. I have like 8 or 9 decks. I opened 2 of them, I think. I got 2 or 3 of them I opened. But they're full of cards that are really great stones. I might actually be incorporating them into my weekly ones and retiring the deck that I've been using for a really long time, because these decks have so many more stones that we could work with. So anyway, sidetracked. But so the first stone I picked is some black agate. And so these cards come right, and it says, so it's Scorpio, and it's for transition, and it's black agate, and I'll read you what it says because I'm blind. I have to have it here. Let you manage your emotions to find the good rather than focusing on darker thoughts. So you could work with some black agate today. And then the next one I picked also was under Scorpio. So back real quick. So the big thing that stood out to me was managing your emotions for this stone. So that was one of the reasons I picked that one, because again, we're managing our emotions. We're being patient. We're being adaptable. We're being flexible. We're using our intuition, right? So the next one I picked was some topaz. So this is enhancing your passion, persistence, and purpose. So again, we know that Scorpios are very passionate people, and we just talked about the detective being persistent and getting all the facts and details before making a decision. So you could work with some topaz. And then the third one I picked didn't fall under Scorpio in the deck, so the card says enhances your honesty, care, and altruism. The reason I picked it is because it's really good for healing. Peridot is a really good healing stone. So with all of this coming up, even with all of our patience, all of our flexibility, our intuition, our adaptability, we still might need just a little bit of help healing. So I thought Peridot was a really good one. And see, Peridot, actually, none of these stones are in my regular deck that I use. And so I was really excited to have cards with new stones to go over with you guys. So that way you guys can start to learn about some different stones than the ones I talk about every week, because there's only so many cards in that deck and so many stones I can cover. So these decks a friend of mine gave me, and there's really a lot of good information in them. So anyhow, so you could work with all three of these stones. You could work with just one of these stones. You could work with one of these stones and add some clear quartz to amplify it, whatever you feel called to do. And if you don't have any of these stones, that's okay. Like I said, you can always comment that you don't have these and what are something else maybe you could work with, and we can always figure it out for you. I just flung that right across the desk and onto the floor. All right, moving over to some oils and some herbs. All right, so the first one I picked is actually a resin. And I should have taken a piece out of the bag here to show you. I picked some dragon's blood, and it's a resin. And typically I break this up into smaller pieces because that is a really big piece. If I wanted to burn that on my charcoal discs, that would be a really big piece to burn. So I would probably break that up into some smaller pieces. But resin's blood, dragon's blood is a resin. And the reason I chose it is it boosts magical abilities. So that's going to help heighten that intuition for you. I'm always looking for ways to heighten intuition. I realize probably not all you guys are. Not everybody's going to have the same goals that I do. But if you are looking to heighten your intuition, which Scorpio is already enhancing that, Dragon's Blood is going to help give it a bigger boost than it already has. And it smells pretty good too. All right, put that back in there. I have a bunch of it. See how there's smaller pieces down at the bottom? That's probably what I would burn, is like those little pieces, because these are pretty big. I would you can just break them, like crunch them up and break them into smaller pieces. Anyhow, it's like those poppy bubbles. Once you start, you just can't stop. Anywho, the next thing I picked was some, and again, I tried to pick some different ones that maybe we don't normally talk about. So I picked some amber, and this is in an oil form, but it also does come kind of like a resin form, I guess. I guess it would be a resin. So I have some amber. It smells amazing. It's great for inspiration. So if we are planning and preparing and setting goals and releasing things that no longer serve us, why not get a little bit of inspiration, right? And also, besides the fact that it smells absolutely amazing, it's also an aphrodisiac. So it's going to help with that Scorpio passion. Maybe that's why I like it so much. All the Scorpio in my chart. The third one I picked is labdanum. And you guys are going, really? Yeah, really. Again, besides it smells just freaking amazing. It is sedating. So you might not necessarily want to work with them together. Maybe you do. I don't know. So inspiration and an aphrodisiac, and this is more of a sedating smell. So this would be really great if you wanted to meditate, if you wanted to sit down with your mala to do your affirmation, something that's going to put you in a very tranquil, sedative state. That's going to really kind of keep you quite grounded and again, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Just in a frame of mind of relaxation, quiet, calm. So those are the three I picked. Again, you can combine them and work with them together, or you can work with them separate. I would probably, in this situation, work with them separate at different times throughout the day. So you can do that however you like as well. But, and maybe work with them separately over the next couple of days, or throw them all in together and work with them all 3 days. Do whatever you're called to do. So colors. I love to work with colors because it's so easy to do. You can, I've told you guys before, I have a huge tote, bin, bucket, whatever you want to call it, in the house with all kinds of different ribbons that I've bought from the dollar store. And when I'm working with a particular color, I like to get the ribbons out and pick out the colors, and then I might go tie them on. I have a broom that's on the back door. I change that ribbon a lot. I have a vase in the living room that has flowers, dried fake flowers, and it kind of is like a hourglass shape, so it's got a nice spot where a ribbon can be tied on it. I change that ribbon out all the time with different colors. I have some lanterns that hang in the living room. So at the top of the lantern, I like to tie different colored ribbons on there. You can incorporate different colored candles. You can go to the dollar store and get the little placemats that are all different colors. And that's a great way to change out your altar space color, or just throw them on your kitchen table, whatever, however you want to incorporate that. But working with the color is so much fun and so easy to do, and so many endless possibilities of things that you could do working with colors. So I picked red for passion. So we're going to have that heightened passion of Scorpio. I picked black for some protection. And that is just being grounded and protected of like I said, there's going to be some challenges, right? And so it's not a bad idea to have a little help with being protected. So, and then I picked blue for the water element, bringing in water element. I work with blue pretty much all the time, nonstop. So I am constantly surrounded by blue. But that water element is going to help with that heightened intuition for you. So, and again, you can pick different colors. If you're really being called to, say, work more with something of the green for healing, certainly do that. Work with green. If you are, I don't know, I can't think, I'm drawing a blank. Patience would be blue, I would think. Patience would be like a light blue, calming patience, light blue color maybe you could work with. So just think of like the colors, whatever it is you're trying to work with, think of what the color is that might relate to that and work with that. So, all right. So next I have journal prompt. So I've said this a million times too. I'm not good at journaling. I want to be, but it's just not going to happen right now. So my plan is after school is done in August to spend some time journaling. So every time I do a video, new moon, full moon, high holiday, after I do the video, I'd like to be able to set aside, some time to go right into and do my journal prompt. Um, so, I'm going to try. But anyway, um, with the journal prompts, I do kind of think out the answers, but I really do feel that writing them out, because when we get writing, we get in a flow and we tend to be a little bit more honest and we tend to be a little bit more aware, I guess. And I can't think. Um, it's just more beneficial when you're writing it out. It's more, it's not necessarily you don't have to write it to be coherent. You don't have to write full sentences. You don't even have to write proper English. None of that matters when you're journaling. It's more about just getting it down on paper and helping process through things for you. So anyway, I'm going to go over here into the comments and put, yep, there's no B in journal prompt. And it is now, it's not quite the normal ones I pick. Again, I'm trying to kind of broaden things and pick different things. But the journal prompt I picked is, how can I move forward with changes in a drama-free way? So I don't typically tend to be a dramatic person. I mean, it happens occasionally, but I don't tend to be overly dramatic. But if you are, and you kind of fly off the handle and you make a big deal out of things, and I don't know, I have people in my life that are super dramatic sometimes. And I'm like, oh my God, just settle down. But if you are somebody that's more on the dramatic side, how can maybe you process through these changes and not focus so much on the drama of it, and focus more on how you're going to move through the change and how that change is going to benefit you. If there's a lesson in there for you, things like that, instead of being just the, how do I say this? I know somebody that like everything, kind of what I was saying earlier, looking for the bad, right? So every little thing that happens in her life is a whole dramatic process, you know, um, and everything is such a big deal, and um, it doesn't get. So just a simple thing, I'll just use the one I always use is somebody cutting you off in traffic, and so for this particular person, it's going to be, oh, they meant to do that, and maybe they must know her and not like her, and um, so like there's a big, it's made into a big thing, and it is, had the story has to be told to every person she sees that day, and every time she tells it, she gets more dramatic about it, more upset about it, um, and I understand that's part of her personality, but again, she's making it dramatic and she's making it worse for herself. So, how can we process through things, through things, learn our lessons, and all of that, and maybe not be so dramatic about it? There's a giant ant crawling up my window on the outside. um, Squirrel, sorry. So yeah, if you tend to be somebody that's a little bit more on the dramatic side, maybe sit back and think about how you can move through things, and maybe kind of lose some of the drama of it. So, um, and ranting side note, I know, but I find people who like to be over dramatic like that um, are looking to fill something in their life, whether it's attention. Usually, that's what I find is usually they want some attention, and if it comes in a form of sympathy, um, that's better than nothing. So I usually find those people are trying to maybe find to fill a hole for something. So maybe take that information if you are somebody that's a little bit more on the dramatic side, and maybe take that and kind of sit and think about maybe what you might be trying to fill for a hole. No judging, just making an observation. So, all right. Last but not least, crafting. Something you could do today to do a craft. And the craft I picked isn't necessarily so much towards the astrology that's going on for today. It isn't so much about Scorpio. Um, it's more of a Beltane thing, really. But today would be a really great day to make a wand. And actually, we have a wand making class tonight at 6 o'clock. So it kind of tied in perfect. But we are making a wand tonight during the full moon, but it is for Beltane. So it was a project we picked for the purpose of Beltane. So go out, go for a walk through the woods, a park, whatever you can, wherever you are, and find a stick that's on the ground. I typically try not to take anything that's off a living tree. I like to find sticks that are on the ground. If you really do want to take one off a tree, I recommend that you ask the tree permission first. Sit with the tree, spend time with the tree, maybe make an offering to the tree back to thank them for letting you take a branch. And then you can take the branch home and like I said, decorate it, put gemstones on it, put ribbons on it, put flowers on it, glitter if you want, paint, trinkets. I like to tie little things on the ribbons. Some of the ones I have over there are wooden beads and feathers. I tend to like, if I lose an earring and I've got an earring that I really like, I'll save the one earring and tie that maybe onto a wand. You can glue some, maybe a quartz or something on the tip to make a nice little pretty tip on your wand. All kinds of different things you could do to be creative and making a wand. And you know, you could even use the stones. I can't show you the black agate because I threw it across the room. If you have the stones that we talked about, you could use those stones. You could use the colors that we talked about, the red, black, or the blue, to tie on to your wand. Or maybe you want to use more of springtime colors and use some pastels. That's okay too. But yeah, it's kind of a fun project, and it's super easy, and you can be so creative and come up with so many great things when you're making a wand. So, all right, so that's going to finish it up for me for today. I will see you guys back here Monday morning at 7 to do the weekly astrology. And please share this with a friend that you think might find it beneficial. Just say hi, give me a thumbs up. You know, the drill. So like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you. And remember, as always, remember to be kind. Your kindness is not only going to improve your day, it's going to improve somebody else's day. And it could potentially change someone's life for the better. And it could be yours. So thanks, guys. Bye.